If you've ever wondered why some cruise passengers seem relaxed, upgraded, and always one step ahead, while others deal with noise, extra fees, and missed opportunities, this video will explain exactly why. Cruise lines don't advertise these insider tips, especially to senior travelers, because knowing them can save you hundreds of dollars, prevent medical and mobility headaches, and completely change how comfortable your cruise feels from day one. Today, I'm sharing 14 cruise insider tips every senior should know, based on years of real cruise experience and strategies seasoned cruisers quietly use on every voyage. We're counting down from tip number 14 to the single most powerful cruise strategy at number 1, one that can cut your daily cruise cost in half if you know how to use it. Grab a pen and paper because these tips are better remembered. Let's set sail. Cruise tip number 14. Choose midship cabins on decks 7 through 9. Book midship cabins on decks 7 through 9 for the smoothest, quietest cruise experience. Here's why this matters specifically for seniors. These cabins are positioned at the ship's center of gravity, which means significantly less rocking motion during rough seas. If you're prone to seasickness or simply want better sleep quality, this location reduces motion by up to 60% compared to cabins at the ship's front or back. How to access this tip. When browsing cabin selections online, look at the ship's deck plan, count the total number of decks, find the middle range, and select cabins numbered in the center section, typically between cabin numbers 400 through 800 on most ships. Avoid cabins directly below pools, gyms, or theaters, which you can identify on the deck plan by looking at what's positioned on the deck above your potential cabin. This helps you because better sleep and less motion sickness mean you'll actually enjoy your ports of call instead of spending days recovering in your cabin. The price difference between these optimal cabins and poorly located ones is often minimal, sometimes just $50 to $100 for an entire week. Cruise tip number 13. Request early boarding for mobility concerns. Contact the cruise line 30 days before departure to request priority boarding if you have any mobility concerns. Most seniors don't realize this benefit exists, but cruise lines accommodate these requests regularly, and it transforms your embarkation experience from stressful to smooth. Here's how to access it. Call the cruise line's accessibility services department directly, not the general customer service number. Explain that you have mobility concerns or simply prefer to board early to avoid crowds and long waits. You don't need a doctor's note for this request. The accessibility team will add a notation to your booking that allows you to bypass the regular boarding queues. This helps you by eliminating 2 to 3 hours of standing in lines on embarkation day. You'll board the ship relaxed, get to your cabin sooner, and start enjoying your vacation while other passengers are still waiting in the terminal. Linda from Michigan used this tip and was in her cabin unpacking, while hundreds of other passengers were still in the security line. But wait until you hear about the money-saving strategy in tip number 14 that most seniors completely overlook. Cruise tip number 12. Pack medications in carry-on with copies. Always pack a full week's worth of all medications in your carry-on bag, even if your cruise is shorter. Keep medications in original pharmacy bottles with clear labels, and photograph all prescription labels before you leave home. Why this matters. Checked luggage occasionally gets delayed or lost, and cruise ship medical facilities have extremely limited pharmacy capabilities. They cannot refill most prescription medications, and obtaining prescriptions in foreign ports is complicated and expensive. If you take daily medications for blood pressure, diabetes, heart conditions, or any chronic illness, being without them even for 2 days can be dangerous. How to implement this. Request extra medication from your doctor before cruising, explaining you need travel backup supplies. Most doctors will prescribe a 2-week extra supply without issue. Store 1 week's worth in your carry-on and the rest in checked luggage. Take photos of all prescription labels and store them on your phone as backup documentation. This protects you because if luggage is delayed, you'll have enough medication to last until it arrives, or until you can work with the ship's medical team to find solutions. This simple precaution prevents medical emergencies that could cost thousands in evacuation fees or force you to disembark at foreign ports. Quick pause. If any of these tips have helped you save money or feel more confident about your cruise, hit that like button. It helps other seniors find this video when they're planning their trip. And if you've got a cruise coming up in 2026, subscribe. I post practical cruise advice every week to help you travel safer, smarter, and spend less. All right, let's get back to it. Cruise tip number 11, use self-service laundry rooms. These facilities exist on nearly every major cruise line, but are rarely advertised because cruise lines profit from their expensive laundry services that can charge $60 to $80 for a few items. Here's how to find them. On embarkation day, ask your cabin steward where the nearest self-service laundry room is located and what the quietest times are for using it. These rooms typically have 4 to 6 washing machines and dryers that cost $3 to $4 per load. Bring your own detergent pods from home to save even more. This saves you significant money on cruises longer than 7 days. Washing 3 loads during a 2-week cruise costs about $20 using self-service versus potentially $300 using ship laundry services. For seniors on longer repositioning cruises or back-to-back sailings, this tip alone can save $400 to $600 per trip. Cruise tip number 10, book future cruises. On board for massive perks. Visit the Future Cruise Desk while you're sailing to book your next voyage and unlock exclusive benefits unavailable anywhere else. This is one of the most powerful money-saving strategies experienced cruisers use, and it's shockingly underutilized by seniors. Why this works? Cruise lines offer onboard booking incentives that include reduced deposits, sometimes just $100 instead of the standard $250 per person. Onboard credit typically ranging from $50 to $200 per cabin, and priority cabin selection before the general public can book. These benefits stack up to represent $300 to $600 in real value. Here's the insider secret. You don't have to choose your specific cruise immediately. You're purchasing a placeholder booking that's valid for any sailing within the next 2 years. If your plans change, most cruise lines allow you to cancel and receive a full refund of your deposit, minus a small administrative fee. But if you wait until you're home to book, these exclusive perks disappear forever. How to implement this? Allocate 30 minutes during a sea day to visit the Future Cruise Desk. Bring your credit card and be prepared to put down the reduced deposit. Ask specifically about the onboard booking benefits for your loyalty tier, as higher tier members often receive even better perks. Even if you're uncertain about your next cruise, the minimal deposit locks in these benefits while you decide. But here's where things get really interesting, because the next tip involves a timing secret that affects every aspect of your cruise. Cruise tip number 9, monitor prices after booking. Check your cruise price weekly after booking because cruise lines frequently drop prices, and most offer price matching or onboard credit when this happens. Many seniors book their cruise and never look at pricing again, missing out on hundreds of dollars in refunds or credits. How this works? Major cruise lines, including Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Norwegian, and Princess, have best price guarantee policies. If the price drops after you book, but before final payment, they'll either refund the difference or provide equivalent onboard credit. However, they don't monitor this automatically. You must request the price adjustment. Implementation strategy. Set a calendar reminder to check your exact cruise pricing every Monday morning. Compare the current price to what you paid. If it's dropped by more than $50 per person, call the cruise line immediately to request a price adjustment. Have your booking number ready and be specific about the lower price you found. This helps you because cruise prices fluctuate constantly based on demand, and catching a price drop can return $200 to $500 to your budget. Some savvy seniors check prices daily during wave season when promotional changes happen frequently, recovering even more money. Cruise tip number 8, purchase travel insurance within 14 days. Buy comprehensive travel insurance within 14 days of making your initial cruise deposit to access pre-existing condition coverage. This timing is absolutely critical, and most seniors miss this narrow window, leaving themselves exposed to potentially devastating financial losses. Here's why timing matters. Most travel insurance policies exclude coverage for pre-existing medical conditions, unless you purchase the policy within 10 to 14 days of your first trip payment. If you wait even 1 day past this window, conditions like heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, or previous injuries won't be covered if they cause trip cancellation or medical emergencies during your cruise. How to access this properly. The same day you book your cruise, or within the next 48 hours, research travel insurance options. Compare policies from Allianz, TravelGuard, and Insure My Trip specifically. Look for policies covering trip cancellation, medical evacuation, which can cost $50,000 to $150,000 from remote locations, and trip interruption coverage. This protects you because medical evacuation from a cruise ship to a hospital can bankrupt you without proper insurance. If you have any ongoing health conditions, which most seniors do, buying insurance within this 14-day window is potentially the most important financial decision you'll make for your cruise. Cruise tip number 7. Book shore excursions after final payment. Wait until after your final payment date to book shore excursions through the cruise line. This timing gives you access to the complete inventory of available tours while still allowing time for research and planning. Why this strategy works. Cruise lines don't release their full shore excursion inventory until after final payment deadlines, which typically occur 60 to 90 days before departure. If you book excursions during your initial cruise booking, you'll see only limited options. If you wait until you're on board, popular tours, especially those designed for limited mobility, are often sold out. The sweet spot is booking 1 to 4 weeks after final payment. You'll see every available excursion, can read recent reviews, and still have priority over passengers who wait until embarkation day. Popular excursions like glacier tours in Alaska or archaeological sites in the Mediterranean fill quickly, so this timing balance is crucial. How to implement this. Mark your final payment date on your calendar. 2 weeks after that date, log into your cruise line account and browse all available shore excursions. Focus on tours that accommodate mobility concerns if relevant, and book your top 2 or 3 priorities immediately. This ensures you get the experiences you want at the times that work best for your schedule. Cruise tip number 6. Request accessible cabins for extra space. Consider booking accessible cabins even if you don't require wheelchair access. These cabins offer significantly more space, better bathroom layouts, and thoughtful design features that make cruising more comfortable for everyone, especially seniors. Here's what most people don't realize. Accessible cabins typically provide 30 to 40% more floor space than standard cabins in the same category. They feature larger bathrooms with walk-in showers instead of cramped tub shower combinations, wider doorways that make moving luggage easier, and roll-under sinks that provide more storage space underneath. The pricing is usually identical to standard cabins, but many seniors hesitate because they don't think they need accessibility features. However, these design elements benefit anyone who values comfort and convenience, particularly on longer cruises, where cabin comfort significantly impacts your overall experience. How to book these. When selecting your cabin online, look for the wheelchair accessibility icon. You can also call the cruise line directly and ask about accessible cabin availability in your preferred category and location. Some cruise lines require documentation for accessible cabins, while others simply accommodate requests when inventory allows. This helps you because more space means less clutter, easier movement around your cabin, safer bathroom navigation, and generally more comfortable living conditions throughout your cruise. But wait, because the strategy coming up next in tip could save you more money than everything we've covered so far combined. Cruise tip number 5. Stack onboard credits from multiple sources. Combine onboard credits from multiple sources to create hundreds of dollars in free spending money before your cruise even begins. When done correctly, this strategy can generate $300 to $500 in onboard credit that can be used for drinks, specialty dining, Wi-Fi, and shore excursions. Here's how it works. First, book your cruise during a promotion that includes onboard credit, usually $50 to $150 per cabin. Second, use a cruise line credit card or booking incentive that adds additional onboard credit. Third, book through a travel agent who offers extra onboard credit as part of their service. These credits stack together automatically. Why this matters for seniors. Onboard credit reduces your out-of-pocket costs without changing your cruise experience. $300 in stacked credit can easily cover a beverage package, specialty dining, or multiple excursions. How to implement this. Before booking, check current cruise promotions and ask directly whether onboard credit is included. If working with a travel agent, Always ask what onboard credit they can add. This simple step takes minutes, but can save you hundreds. Onboard credit works like cash on the ship, and when stacked correctly, it's one of the easiest ways seniors can upgrade their cruise experience without spending more. And the next tip is critical because it covers a health-related risk many seniors underestimate. Cruise tip number 4. No medical facility limitations. Understand that cruise ship medical centers are urgent care facilities, not hospitals, and they cannot handle serious medical emergencies. This realistic understanding could save your life if you know what the facilities can and cannot do. Here's the reality. Ship medical centers can handle seasickness, minor injuries, basic lab work, and routine medication administration. They cannot perform surgery beyond very minor procedures. They lack advanced diagnostic imaging beyond basic x-rays. They have limited blood supply for transfusions, and they cannot provide intensive care for heart attacks, strokes, or severe respiratory distress. Why this matters? If you experience a serious medical emergency at sea, the ship's medical team will stabilize you. But definitive treatment requires medical evacuation to land-based hospitals. These evacuations are extraordinarily expensive, typically costing $25,000 to $150,000 depending on location and method. Helicopter evacuations from ships at sea to coastal hospitals cost even more. What you need to do. First, ensure your travel insurance includes medical evacuation coverage with limits of at least $100,000. Second, research your ship's medical facilities before booking. Newer, larger ships typically have better equipped medical centers. Third, if you have serious ongoing health conditions, consult your doctor about cruise travel safety and bring detailed medical records on board. This knowledge helps you make informed decisions about cruise travel based on your health status and ensures you're financially protected if medical emergencies occur. It's not about being fearful, it's about being prepared and realistic. Cruise tip number 3. Use port days for discounted specialty dining. Book specialty restaurants on port days when the ship is docked and most passengers are off exploring. Restaurants struggle to fill seats during port days and frequently offer discounts ranging from 25 to 50% off regular prices. Here's why this opportunity exists. Cruise lines don't widely advertise these port day specials because they prefer you explore ports and spend money on excursions. However, specialty restaurants maintain full staff regardless of passenger load, so they incentivize bookings during slower times rather than operate at 20 to 30% capacity. How to access these deals. On the first day of your cruise, visit the specialty restaurants you're interested in or check with guest services. Ask specifically about port day pricing and availability. Some cruise lines publish these specials in the daily newsletter or app, while others require you to inquire directly. Implementation strategy. Plan your ports strategically. If a port doesn't interest you or you've visited before, that's the perfect opportunity to enjoy discounted specialty dining while the ship is quieter. You'll experience better service because staff have more time for each table, shorter wait times, and the ship feels more spacious and relaxed. This saves you $30 to $60 per person on specialty dining while providing a more intimate experience. Over a 7-day cruise, using this strategy twice could save $100 to $120 for a couple. But here's where things get really interesting, because our top 4 tips are the ones that separate amateur cruisers from seasoned veterans. As promised, we're now down to the final 2 tips, and these are the absolute game changers that experienced cruisers consider essential. Cruise tip number 2. Download offline entertainment before sailing. Download movies, TV shows, ebooks, audiobooks, and music to your devices before embarkation, because cruise ship Wi-Fi is expensive, slow, and unreliable for streaming entertainment. Many seniors don't think about this until they're at sea, and then face paying $15 to $30 per day for internet that still won't stream video effectively. Why this matters? Sea days and evenings in your cabin are perfect times for personal entertainment, but without preparation, your options are limited to ship activities and programming. Having your own entertainment library provides flexibility and comfort, especially for seniors who prefer quieter evenings or need downtime between activities. How to prepare. Before leaving home, download content to your tablet or smartphone using Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Kindle, Audible, or Apple Music. These services allow offline downloads for subscribers, load several movies, a few TV series seasons, multiple books, and podcast episodes or audiobooks. This gives you dozens of hours of entertainment without requiring internet access. Storage considerations. Ensure your device has adequate storage space. A typical movie requires 1 to 3 gigabytes, while audiobooks and ebooks require much less. A 32 gigabyte device can easily store 10 to 15 movies plus additional content. This saves you the cost of internet packages while providing reliable entertainment, regardless of ship Wi-Fi quality. It's especially valuable during overnight repositioning cruises with multiple consecutive sea days. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. The #1 cruise insider tip that will transform how you cruise and potentially save you thousands of dollars. Cruise tip number 1. Book repositioning. Cruises for maximum value. Target repositioning cruises for the absolute best value in cruise travel. These sailings offer longer itineraries at significantly lower per-day costs, often 50 to 70% less than traditional cruises, and they're perfect for seniors with flexible schedules. What are repositioning cruises? Twice yearly, cruise ships move between seasonal regions. Caribbean ships relocate to Europe or Alaska for summer, then return to warmer waters for winter. These transition voyages are called repositioning cruises, and they offer extraordinary value that most travelers never discover. Why they're so valuable? A typical 7-day Caribbean cruise might cost $1,000 to $1,500 per person. A 14-day repositioning cruise on the same ship often costs $1,200 to $1,600 per person. You're getting twice as many days for roughly the same price, reducing your per-day cost by nearly half. Additional benefits. Repositioning cruises attract mature, experienced travelers rather than families with children, creating a quieter, more refined atmosphere. They feature more sea days, which many seniors prefer for relaxation rather than rushing through ports. They visit unique ports not included in standard itineraries. They often include transatlantic or Panama Canal crossings, bucket list experiences at bargain prices. How to find them? Search for repositioning cruises specifically on cruise line websites or aggregator sites like Cruise Critic or Vacations to Go. These sailings typically occur in April to May and October to November. Book 9 to 12 months in advance for the best selection, as experienced cruisers snap up these deals quickly. Implementation strategy. If you have flexible travel dates, sign up for alerts from multiple cruise lines and deal aggregator sites, specifically for repositioning cruises. When deals appear, be prepared to book quickly as the best-priced cabins sell fast. Real-world example. A couple from Arizona booked a 19-day repositioning cruise from Barcelona to Miami, including port stops in Portugal, Madeira, and several Caribbean islands for $1,400 per person. The equivalent standard Mediterranean cruise would have cost over $3,000 per person for just 7 days. This strategy represents the pinnacle of cruise value, combining longer vacations, unique itineraries, mature passenger demographics, and costs that are 50 to 70% lower than comparable cruises. For seniors with time flexibility, repositioning cruises offer unmatched value in the travel industry. These 14 insider tips represent knowledge accumulated through years of cruise industry experience and represent strategies that experienced cruisers use to maximize value while minimizing costs and frustrations. From strategic cabin selection to repositioning cruise opportunities, each tip is designed specifically for senior travelers who want to cruise smarter, safer, and more affordably. Which of these tips will you implement on your next cruise? Drop a comment below and let me know which one surprised you most, or which strategy you're most excited to try. If you found these insider secrets valuable, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more cruise tips, travel strategies, and money-saving advice designed specifically for senior travelers. Hit that notification bell so you never miss new content that could save you hundreds of dollars on your next adventure. Safe travels, and I'll see you on the next one.